The Cardinals have won again, 10 in a row for St. Louis as the postseason gets more and more realistic for the Redbirds, breaking down the exciting, close, and thrilling 2-1 win on today's show, as well as looking at how the Cardinals are doing it as they continue to win, breaking it all down on today's episode of Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Cardinals for Wednesday, September the 22nd. Thanks for tuning in. I am the St. Louis Cardinals host, Lucas Smith. Thanks for tuning in today and every day you tune in, as we're getting close to 14 months of me hosting this show. So thank you for tuning in each and every day. And we're going to go ahead and just get right into it, as the Cardinals have somehow won 10 baseball games in a row. Their first time since 2001 of winning that many games in a row. We're brought to you today in part by Spotify Green Room. Be sure to join one of our Locked On Green Rooms today by downloading the free Green Room app. Cardinals win 2-1 against the Milwaukee Brewers. We're going to talk about the offense, talk about the pitching, and talk about how the heck the Cardinals are doing it, and as well as a managerial decision by Mike Shildt that paid off. And it's one of those decisions that I think only would have paid off on a winning streak, and it paid off on a winning streak yesterday. So we're going to just go and get right into it, because on this winning streak, we've seen a lot of big offensive performances. We've seen a really good offense against the Mets. We saw good offense against the Padres at a certain point. Home runs, doubles, extra base hits, late heroics, all these things. Yesterday was a pitcher's duel to a T. Jake Woodford and company pitching well for the Cardinals. Brandon Woodruff and company pitching very, very, very well for the Brewers. Brandon Woodruff striking out 10 Cardinals. His stuff was electric. So it was a different type of win, in my opinion, last night for the St. Louis Cardinals. We're going to start from the offensive side of things. I know it's a little bit different, but just because there are a lot of cool and fun and interesting things that went on with this offense, despite only mustering up 5 hits against Brandon Woodruff, because Brandon Woodruff for the Milwaukee Brewers was phenomenal yesterday. He gets tagged with his 10th loss of the season, but he's got a 2.52 ERA. He struck out 10 Cardinals yesterday. He was just, unfortunately, had a really, really unlucky first inning. Tommy, not take anything away from the Cardinals, because Tommy Edman put together an incredible, I think it was 9 pitch at bat to start the game. He then steals his 26th bag of the year, which I was surprised to see he had that many. And then he goes on to come around to score on that stolen base. So 26 stolen bases for Tommy Edman with that stolen base in the first inning. And then Paul Goldschmidt hits a ground out to advance the runner, situational hitting, and Tyler O'Neill has a sacrifice fly. Brandon Woodruff then gets Nolan Arenado to pop out. But the situational hitting is something that Tommy Edman talked about post-game, and that was really key tonight. You had really solid situational hitting and small ball. That is the definition of small ball. You didn't have a single hit in that first inning. You had a walk, a ground out, and a sacrifice fly, and you had a run. And then later in the game, you had Lars Nootbaar steal a base, and then Tommy Edman sliced one down the left field line for a base hit to score a run. And he wouldn't have been in scoring position unless Nootbaar stole second base. That was in the second inning with the double switch, and I'll talk about the double switch a little bit later on in the game. But even on that Lars Nootbaar stolen base, he walked. So it just goes to show that walks will kill you, but from a pitching standpoint, but also from the offensive standpoint, you don't necessarily need a hit barrage to score runs. And this is a type of game that the Cardinals would have lost earlier in the season. Obviously June they would have lost. They lost a lot of games in June, but it's a situational hitting that Tommy Edman talked about that was so key to last night's victory. Because if you don't have situational hitting, if Paul Goldschmidt strikes out or flies out or pops out or pulls a ground ball, then Tommy Edman doesn't go over a third, then Tyler O'Neill's fly out means nothing, then Nolan Arenado pops out, innings over, and then Brandon Woodruff goes out and does what Brandon Woodruff does and mow down the St. Louis Cardinals last night, because that's exactly what he did for his 6 innings of work. His fastball was electric. I love a good fastball. And his changeup was phenomenal. Tyler O'Neill got rung up on a changeup that looked a little bit outside, but Woodruff was painting the entire night, and he was phenomenal. So it's situational hitting that can make or break a team. When it's going good, it's going really good. And last night, it went well for the Cardinals. Tommy Edman, as I mentioned now 4 times, I think, talked about it on the postgame. And it was just like I mentioned, a different type of win, and it was a satisfying type of win, not because the Cardinals, needed that type of win, but they're finding a lot of different ways to win these baseball games. It's not just in a slugfest. It's not just scoring early and then later on. Because I'm on Locked On Today, which is Locked On Network's daily podcast talking about everything sports, and Cardinals are kind of taking over the baseball world right now. So I was number one segment on there, and I talked about one of the key things for the offense was scoring early often and then scoring late as well, being able to add on to the lead, which is something that this offense was not able to do in months past. They were able to do it yesterday, scoring one in the first and one in the eighth. That, to me, has been the biggest difference of this team during this winning streak. And they had a tall task against them and Brandon Woodruff yesterday. It's not going to get any easier tonight or tomorrow because the Brewers have a ton of good pitching, especially with Hauser going tomorrow. 6:40 to the first pitch tonight. But the offense struggled yesterday. Don't get me wrong. You don't really want to see a team strike out 10 times and only get 5 hits. But 2 walks that they drew came around to score. They manufactured runs. They found a different way to win the game. You know how many people the Brewers walked yesterday? 2. You know how many runs they gave up? 2. You know which 2 runners came around to score? The 2 walks. Edman with a leadoff walk and Lars Nootbaar walked in the 8th. Manufacturing runs is key in today's game because there are going to be days, especially in October, if the Cardinals play deep in October, it's going to be a cold night. Maybe it's not as easy to hit the ball out of the ballpark if you're playing in somewhere out east, if you're northeast or anywhere cold. Even in St. Louis, sometimes the ball is kind of hard to fly out. Again, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's a little bit harder to hit the ball out when it's 40 degrees versus 80 degrees in July. So manufacturing runs is going to be key for any team that's playing in somewhat cold weather this October. And the Cardinals proved that they can manufacture runs. And something else that they're proving on this winning streak, they can beat above 500 teams and they can beat teams in playoff contention. They've beaten the Reds. They've beaten the Mets. They've beaten the Padres. And now they're beating the Brewers. Earlier this month, they split a series with the Dodgers. They're proving something that they haven't been able to prove the entire season, and that's that they're able to beat good teams. And last night it was because of small ball, manufacturing runs, and being successful at it. That's what it is. This team is a team that is going to surprise some people, and some people might scoff at the fact that they're in the playoff hunt. This team is a lot better team than what they showed up in the first half. June was a bad month for this team. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that this team is a World Series caliber team playing to this level. No, this team is a playoff caliber team that was playing to a lower level earlier this season. So now they're playing up to their caliber. Obviously maybe a little bit higher than what they're supposed to with a 10-game winning streak. Those don't come around too often. Hence the first time they've done this since 2001. But nevertheless, this is a team that has the capability to be this good, to be in this type of contention, 3 games up and a playoff spot with, a handful of games left. In that second wildcard spot, 4 games up, 15 and a half between them and the Dodgers, but four games up on the Reds and 4.5 on the Phillies, 5 on the Padres, 8.5 on the Mets, 11 on the Rockies, and everybody else is mathematically eliminated. But if you want some chaos, head over to the AL East or the AL wildcard. You've got a game and a half between Boston and Toronto. They hold the top 2 spots. New York is a half a game out of Toronto. Oakland and Seattle are just 3 games out of Toronto. So you've got 5 teams separated by just 3 games. Or 5.5 games, Still pretty impressive, but nevertheless, I digress. Offense, manufactured runs. Tommy Edman was a catalyst. That's what a leadoff hitter needs to do. Needs to provide a spark, needs to help kickstart the manufacturing process of these runs, and that's exactly what Tommy Edman did last night. Walk to come around to score, stole a base before that, and then Tommy Edman with an RBI hit in the 8th. Dylan Carlson left the game, and as of this recording, haven't heard anything due to injury, but Mike Shildt was asked post-game about it, and he said, double switch, we're going to leave it at that. Haven't had a chance to talk to anybody. He was grimacing a little bit, wincing in a little bit of pain, so hopefully Dylan Carlson is okay. Despite the 10 strikeouts and the overall ugly offensive performance, the 2 positives come to me in the first and 8th inning with Tommy Edman providing a spark with the walk, the Tyler O'Neill sacrifice fly, and then as well as the Edman base hit with a Nootbaar walk beforehand. Manufactured runs. That's what the Cardinals did last night, and it led to a 2-1 win. Got to talk about the pitching as well, because Jake Woodford stepped up big time, and Miles Michaelis should take a page out of Jake Woodford's book as he looks to continue his success tonight. I will talk about that as well as a gutsy managerial decision that paid off for Mike Shildt in the ninth inning. We'll talk about all that and more coming up here in just a moment on Locked On Cardinals. But first, as I mentioned, our title sponsor today is Green Room. It is the first social audio platform made for sports fans. The app is free to download, and once you're in, you can talk with fans, athletes, and insiders in real time about your team or sport. Green Room is the perfect place to start or join conversations about the league. You'll find fans just like yourself on Green Room for watch parties, debates, post-game breakdowns, and of course, reacting to big news or rumors. You'll find hosts, not even just me, the MLB hosts, also NBA and NHL. So go download the free Green Room app, now currently available on all iOS devices. Be sure to create a profile, link your Twitter, join the MLB group for the latest league updates, and follow me at LJ Fastball. Be sure to you're going to find a ton of incredible rooms in this app, so download it now. Green Room is changing the way we talk sports. Football is back about pretty much in full swing, and BetOnline.ag is your number one place for all your football betting action on pro football and college action this season. They have a new, updated, and ready-to-go interface with even more odds, props, and contests for you to bet on. BetOnline.ag continues to be that number one source. So head to the website for your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 100% welcome bonus. That is double your initial deposit. You can get that 100% welcome bonus when you sign up by using the promo code NFL100. That is NFL100. Whether it's football you want to bet on, baseball, boxing, basketball, right to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports, and they are your online sportsbook experts. Jake Woodford was really, really solid yesterday as he picks up the third win of his 2021 season. His ERA lowered to 3.92, and this Brewers offense, while it might not be as palpable as the Dodgers or the Giants, is a very solid offense. For reference, the Milwaukee Brewers, who do sit in first place in the National League Central, by the way, have scored 695 runs this year. Tops in the second rather in the National League Central, but a run differential of 132. So this is a team that when they score runs, they don't let up a lot. So again, I'm not saying that this offense is top tier, but it's a playoff level offense, clearly. And Jake Woodford was able to strike out 5 in his start yesterday, gave up just 2 hits, walked, run, worked out of a little bit of traffic, but kept the Brewers off the scoreboard. And Mike Shildt was asked post-game about the decision to leave him in for a 5th inning, because this season, Jake Woodford has not gone 5 innings traditionally. Usually you go through 4 innings, then when that second turn of then the batting order comes up, he takes him out, which has been fine. Jake Woodford trying to work his way back to what he needs to be to be a major league starter. But he left him in all 5 innings. This was the first time he's gone 5 innings in a start all the way back since July the 24th. Granted, he was sent down. His previous 2 starts went 4 innings against the Dodgers and the Mets. So he was able to go that 5th inning last night and really provide the Cardinals with a little bit more depth. Just went one more inning, made a huge difference. Because then after that, you were able to go to your bullpen with a little bit of ease. You went to Reyes in the 6th, Cabrera in the 7th, Garcia in the 8th, who struggled a little bit, and then Gallegos, who struggled a little bit, but was able to get the job done. But Jake Woodford, 3 strikes. He 3 strikes. That's the name of the game from the pitching standpoint, in my opinion. 84 pitches overall, 51 strikes. Maybe if that's a veteran guy or somebody not named Jake Woodford, you leave him out there for the 6th inning. I was okay with the decision to take him out after 5 innings. That's not the managerial decision that I teased in the last segment. I'll talk about that coming up in just a moment. But the Cardinals, or Jake Woodford rather, gave the Cardinals what they needed. A little bit of length. And you know what he did? Let's see, what's a buzz phrase? Oh, yes. He kept his team in the game. And that was key, especially since his opponent, Brandon Woodruff, was mowing down the St. Louis Cardinals last night. So Jake Woodford did his job and then some by going 5 innings, not allowing any earned runs. And if this is the Jake Woodford the Cardinals are going to get for the remainder of this season, you got to be feeling pretty darn good as a St. Louis Cardinal fan. If you are one. If you're listening to this show, I assume you are one. If you're a Brewers fan trying to get the Cardinals' perspective, hello and welcome. Sorry you lost, but thanks for joining the show. Or if you're just a baseball fan, thanks for joining the show. But you got to feel pretty good if that's the Jake Woodford you're going to get. Not really a proven guy. And again, October is a different animal. So, it's going to be different for him in October. I understand that. But I'll tell you what, this is not the Jake Woodford that we expected, at times this season when he was a starter, at times this season as a bullpen arm. He wasn't pitching this effectively. And again, I'm not trying to make this bigger than it is. I'm not trying to say, oh, he's the next, Michael Wacha in terms of rookie success in a postseason run. No. But he gave the Cardinals more than what he had given them earlier this season last night. Last night was one of his better starts. 5 innings, no earned runs against the playoff team. Have Brewers clinched? The Brewers have clinched their playoff team, so it's a big time start for Jake Woodford. Excuse me. And beyond him, the bullpen was able to make it stick. I think this is a great role right now for Alex Reyes as he continues to work his way back from the struggles that he had there for a week or 2 weeks or so. He pitched a scoreless 6th inning, struck out the side, walked a batter, got his 3rd hole of the season. To get somebody back to, I'm not saying that he has to go back and work to his way to a closer role, but you can't pitch somebody that time and time again in the closer role when it's not working. Obviously, you're going to lose a lot of games. The Cardinals lost a handful of games with Alex Reyes pitching the 9th. But this is a perfect reason as well why you don't just write that person off. Get him in some low leverage situations, which the Cardinals did. Then get him in some maybe medium, high level situations early in the game. And that's what the Cardinals are doing now. That's what Mike Shildt is doing now. Alex Reyes was able to pitch that 6th inning. It was a 2-run game, or a 1-run game at that point, excuse me. So it wasn't like it was just, this is 14-0 or 5-0. This game's over. Let's just go out there and hum-ho. No, he still had to focus and get outs and keep his team in the game. Walked a batter, so made it interesting, as Alex Reyes tends to do, but struck out the side and got out of there with a scoreless outing. I think it's a wonderful role for Alex Reyes right now as he continues to work his way back to get to that all-star elite level. And again, I'm not saying that even when he gets back to that level, that he needs to go back to the bullpen or back to the closer roles. Excuse me. Maybe he's a better as a reliever. Maybe he's better just in the setup role. You leave Gio out there in the 9th, or Luis Garcia in the 9th. Garcia got a save opportunity the other day. Maybe I think that's something that the Cardinals are going to work out. But I think that, for example, just to tease one more time the managerial decision, if Alex Reyes is closing in the 9th and he's facing Christian Yelich with 1st and 3rd. I think it's a lot harder for Mike Shildt to make the call to walk Yelich and put the winning run on second base with Alex Reyes. Just my opinion. Talk about that in a little bit in segment number 3. But Alex Reyes, I think it's a huge positive, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to see Reyes, again, maybe not necessarily get back to the dominant role that he was at, but get back to being efficient and getting outs. After him, the Cardinals went to Genesis Cabrera. He got 2 strikeouts in his 27th hold of the season. Pretty impressive stuff. Luis Garcia gave up a run, almost a 2-run shot. Colton Wong came real close to giving the Brewers, or to tying that game. Rather, it was 2-0 at that point in the bottom of the 8th. Missed it just a bit. Runner on first. I think it was Tellez. Wasn't able to score from first base. Had to make sure the ball was down. I understand that, so I'm not trying to diss the base running. But, that was close to tying that game. He was able to work out of it with the sacrifice fly. The Brewers got just that 1 run that inning. Just the 1 run. And Luis Garcia somehow, some way did his job after Willie Adames was the person who got the sacrifice fly to Jackie Bradley Jr. And then Gio. Gio came in the 9th, and it was not an easy, breezy 9th. Here's what happened in that 9th inning if you missed it. Leadoff single by Avisaíl Garcia. Lorenzo King grounded into a force out at second base and was somehow called out at first base when he was nowhere close to being out. But again, don't like to diss the umpires too much. Luis Urias draws a walk. Manny Pena flew out. And then Mike Shildt decided to let Gallegos intentionally walk Yelich. And then Pablo Reyes struck out to end the ball game. Always a better win when you end the game on a strikeout. Agree? Disagree? Let me know. At LJ Fastball on Twitter. I think it's much better to end the game via strikeout. That's just me. But again, if the bullpen is right, and this is also what I talked about on Locked On today, the hitting I think is going to be there. Maybe not always the 10-game winning streak type offense, but the offense is going to be there to manufacture runs, in my opinion, based on how they're rolling. Starting pitching has been pretty well, even beyond this 10-game winning streak, even since the second half of the season. It's the bullpen that has just gone bananas in this 10-game winning streak. Yes, they faltered a little bit on Sunday in the 8-7 game, faltered a little bit last Tuesday in the extra inning game against New York. But overall, this bullpen has been phenomenal in this 10-game winning streak. So that, to me, is going to be what sets this team apart the rest of the season. Maybe not from, playoff to World Series, but it's going to be from playoffs to not playoffs. This bullpen needs to be this efficient, because when you have a guy like Jake Woodford only give you 5 innings, which again, if that's what Jake Woodford's going to give you, that's what he's going to give you. But you need to have bullpen pieces behind Woodford to be effective in order to get outs behind him. So I'm really excited for what this bullpen has shown, and especially what they showed yesterday in a very close game. And again, I know I mentioned that Reyes' situation maybe wasn't the highest of leverages, but everybody who came into that game, because it was a close game, became at minimum a medium leverage game, because it was a 6th inning on, in my opinion. So props to the bullpen tonight. Bullpen might be being used again if Miles Michaelis doesn't go deep in the game. Talk about that a little bit, as well as I've teased it a handful of times, Mike Shildt's managerial decision that actually paid off to walk Christian Yelich in the bottom half of that 9th inning. So talking about both those things in segment number 3. But first, I want to tell you about the best tasting protein bar on the planet. That is Built Bar. Built Bar has 9 incredible flavors, and if you don't know them, I'm going to let you know. Here they are: coconut, cherry barcia, raspberry, mint brownie, double chocolate, salted caramel, strawberry, orange, cookies and cream, German chocolate. All incredibly delicious. You can't go wrong. There's something for everyone. If you want my recommendation, these things are all covered 100% in chocolate. I love chocolate, so I'm going to order myself the double chocolate here in a couple days when I run out of the current stash that I have. So get yourself a mixed box. You can get 2 of each of the 9 flavors. If you don't know which ones to try them all. They're all incredibly healthy, but they're also all incredibly they're all incredibly tasty, and they're also all incredibly healthy. They have 17 to 18 grams of protein, calories ranging from 130 to 180, and 4 to 5 grams of sugar and 4 to 5 grams of net carbs. Order today the double chocolate, cherry barcia, orange, raspberry, whatever you'd like. Built Bar is also the official protein bar of the U.S. track and field team. If I haven't enticed you enough, here's a money deal for you. Go to Built.com and the promo code enter LOCKED15, LOCKED15, LOCKED15 for 15% off your order. You get a protein bar. You get an incredibly tasting protein bar, and you save money. What's not to like? LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. Get yourself a Built Bar today. I'm here just trying to help you solve problems. And here's a problem that I'm going to try and help you solve. You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows. You've got your sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbors, best friends log in for the really good stuff. There's a simpler way to get all the entertainment you love without all the hassle, and it's called DirecTV Stream. Get your TV together, because it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. No more juggling remotes. No need to buy another device. And the best part about DirecTV Stream, there's no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter, the confusion, and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That is directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. Last night, Mike Shildt made a gutsy move in the bottom half of the 9th with runners on first and third and 2 outs. Mike Shildt decided to intentionally walk Christian Yelich and put the winning run at second base. Tying runner's already on at third base because he had 1 out first and second and a fly out to center. Runner tagged to third base. If, like I mentioned earlier, if the Cardinals were on a losing streak, in my opinion, and again, hindsight's 20/20, but if the Cardinals maybe aren't playing well, or if Shildt has a little bit less confidence in the guy that's on the mound, whether it's Gio or somebody else, maybe you don't put the winning run on second base. But because things are going well, it's a lot easier to roll the dice and to take a chance. And again, I'm not saying that that's an easy decision. I was questioning it at the time because it's really hard to put the winning run at second base. That's a really hard and gutsy decision. But what makes a manager, in my opinion, what a lot of times what can make or break a manager, I've talked about this frequently on this show, is how the players make the manager look. Because the manager can only press so many buttons. Players have to go out and execute, especially at the major league level. I'm not saying managers don't make a difference. They get too much blame, too much credit for winning, and too much blame for losses, in my own personal opinion. Still important. But Giovanni Gallegos striking out Sandoval, I think was the batter's last name, to end the game, or Pablo Reyes, excuse me, made that managerial decision pay off for Mike Shildt. Because if that doesn't pay off and the Brewers tie the game or win the game, then Mike Shildt's intentional walk right there gets blamed for the loss. It's getting a lot more attention than it is. Because now we're talking about it as if it was, or not as if, we're talking about it because it was a good move that paid off, that led to a Cardinal win. It was a really gutsy move by Shildt, and it paid off. Have I said it's paid off? I think I've said it's paid off. Yeah, it's paid off. But the key to any managerial decision, whether it's a 10-game winning streak, 10-game losing streak, or anywhere in between, first place, last place, April to October, a big key in how a managerial decision looks after the fact is what the players do with that decision. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of situations where, or certain situations, I should say, where a decision is just flat out wrong. And again, that's a case-by-case basis, but I would argue that most of the time, how a player reacts when he's put in a situation by his manager, that will say that dictates how the manager's decision is perceived based on what the result of that decision is. And again, that might sound obvious, but I think if that decision leads to a Brewers run, we're talking a lot of different emotion today, different attitude today. But it didn't. Shilt's move paid off, ended up being the right move. In the moment, I didn't really have an opinion because I'm not getting paid to have that opinion about what the Shildt should do in the moment. But I was questioning it and uneasy with it last night. But it paid off. Cardinals got the win. Giovanni Gallegos with an emotional strikeout to end the game. And the Cardinals now have 10 wins in a row, and they will look for number 11 tonight. 6:40 the first pitch. Miles Mikolas and the Brewers have announced their starter as left-hander Brett Anderson. But Miles Mikolas, if he is able to give the Cardinals 5 to 6 innings of 0 to 2 earned runs, that's a win. Because Mikolas, while he is coming off a very solid start in his most recent outing against the Mets, or the Padres, excuse me, that's he needs to continue that success. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Coming off 5 2/3 no earned runs against the Padres. Before that, he had 4 earned runs in 5 innings against the Reds and 4 earned runs in 5 innings against the Dodgers. So Mikolas just, in my opinion, 5 to 6 innings, 0 to 2 earned runs, and that will count as a success for me. Craig Counsell said that he's feeling his team's going to bust out of this offensive slump they're in. Craig Counsell, the Brewers manager. But it's going to be tough to do if Mikolas is on, if he's on. Because Mikolas needs to do what Jake Woodford did and just go out there, throw strikes. Jake Woodford talked about it, about how there might be a little bit more emotion going into this start because it's a winning streak. But when you're on a winning streak, starting pitchers want to match what the starting pitcher did the day before. So that's going to be Miles Mikolas' goal. Match what Jake Woodford did yesterday. Keep it rolling. The offense can only do what the offense is going to do. Miles Mikolas can't control that. What Miles Mikolas can't control is what he does on the mound. He just needs to repeat what Woodford did yesterday. 5 to 6 innings, 0 to 2 earned runs. That would be successful. That is my expectation for Miles Mikolas going into tonight's start. That's the bar that I'm setting. 5 to 6 innings, 0 to 2 earned runs. That's what Miles Mikolas needs to do in order to be successful and for the Cardinals to have their best chance of winning. Brett Anderson has a 4.18 ERA this season, 56 strikeouts, 4-8 record on the year. He has thrown 88 1/3 innings, 21 starts, all his appearances, whip of 1.34. His last start came on the 1st of September, went just 2 innings, no earned runs, left that start early, obviously. Before that, on the 26th, he went 4 innings against the Reds, gave up 3 earned, 5 1/3 against the Nationals. On the 20th of August, gave up 3 earned, 5 1/3. So Anderson will look to better his most recent outings on the mound for him. Cardinals will have a 6:40 first pitch tonight and a 1:10 Central Time first pitch tomorrow. So I'll tweet it out at LJ Fastball, and I'll put it on social on the show's account at LO_Cardinals on Twitter and Instagram. But I'm thinking we're going to have a post-game show on Thursday and then a preview of the 2 games on Friday. That's what I'm thinking, but I will let you guys know, so be sure to stay tuned on social. If you're on the YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when an episode goes live so you never miss one. Drop a rating, drop a comment. If you're on a podcasting platform, be sure to also drop a rating, follow, subscribe. It's all free on every platform. So that's going to do it for today's show. Tell your friends about it as well. But now that you've finished listening to this show, head over to Locked On Bets and listen in as to how they can help you win some money on sports betting. But that's going to do it for me today. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at LJ Fastball, as I mentioned, LO_Cardinals is the show's Twitter and Instagram, and email anytime at lockedoncards@gmail.com. And until I talk to you guys tomorrow, which will either be before the game or post-game show, be sure to stay safe, stay well, and have a fantastic rest of your day.